So today I was listening to one of my favourite podcasts, which I listen to all the time, called the Music Pro Daily, or just called Music Pro Daily, which is a podcast aimed at people like me, but also anyone who's really making music and doing it professionally and wants to grow and wants to learn. So they cover a lot of stuff. It's really great. Daniel Grimmett is one of the hosts, and today the podcast was talking about why artists hire remote producers, or why an artist might want to work with a producer remotely. I've been thinking about this myself and like why, because I've been getting remote people working with me and somebody who wanted to be a local client based in London, but they ended up having to move back to France. Somebody who is local, who's working remotely, somebody who's far away, and I'm working on an Ableton session actually today for them. So I was thinking, what is it about remote working? And this podcast kind of popped up and started to answer those questions for me. So the first one really was location, and talked about the fact that there are only really a handful of big music hubs globally, really, like for Western pop music. You've got New York, LA, London, Nashville, and Brighton. Brighton is, it's got a lot going on musically, so I'm lucky that I live here. But a lot of artists don't live in those places, so they don't really have access very easily to go to those studios and go to work with those producers in their studios for long periods of time where they're going to develop a relationship. So remote working means they can tap into those local hubs. So somebody in some suburban town in England might tap into someone in London or Nashville, whatever the music they're doing. They can kind of find somebody working in those cities where generally there's more of a concentration of skill and talent. Secondly, they talked about, it's quite similar, they talked about just having more options. So if you're an artist who's producing a lot of music and you have plans to keep putting stuff out and you're quite focused and motivated, you might want to mix up your sound. You might think, I've done 4 or 5 tracks with this guy or this girl, and now I want to branch out. So working remotely means you can look at the entire globe really and have so many more options. So I thought that was very pertinent because it made me think about how really anyone around the world could work with me. And thirdly, they talked about the fact that it's for most artists who are making their own music, solo artists and bands, but solo artists primarily who are career focused, they want to try and succeed. They're most likely to be working in a job to earn the money to pay for producers and mixers. As well as working, they have to manage their social media, they have to learn the songs, rehearse, engage with fans, have to put content out, they have to book rehearsals, have to do gigging, planning of tours. There's a lot that goes into it. So really having someone as a producer working for them remotely, that can be going on while they're at work. They can just they can be doing their thing, not worrying about it, and they can have the initial Zoom meeting, talking about the pre-production. And I've been doing that with my clients, which has been great. The only thing that they have to really be able to do themselves is vocal recording, and there's ways of doing that remotely, but ideally that kind of artist would be able to record pretty decent quality vocal wherever they are, or find a local studio where they can do that cheaply. In terms of the physical recording of a vocal and any instruments they play, everything else can be done over the internet and can be done remotely. So they can have a quick session, do some vocals, send it over to the engineer or the producer, and then go to work doing everything else I need to do, and then have a check-in in a couple of days or wherever it is and tweak things. It's amazing what I've been doing over Zoom and with plugins that send high-quality audio over the internet. Both people are wearing headphones, we can listen to a session, we can feedback, I can isolate parts, delete things, try different sounds. It's almost as good as them being in the room, but they haven't had to travel to where I am. So I thought it was an interesting podcast. Thanks to Music Pro Daily. I recommend following them if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Awesome. Okay, well, have a good day. And if you want to talk about working remotely with me, hit me up. Bye.